Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Chislett. I was a registered dietitian at THIRA, and now I am part of a private practice at Attune Nutrition. I continue to consult with THIRA as I love the philosophy of treating nutritional wellness and mental health issues. And it's something that's really important to my set of values and the reason that I work with eating disorders. So I am honored to continue to work with the great professionals at THIRA. Today is an exciting day. It marks the kickoff to Sound Bites, which is going to be a 30-minute weekly broadcast of nutritional and mental health related topics. And that's really to promote wellness in the general community and to inform people as well as educate people, allow people to ask questions about anything they're curious about when it comes to nutritional wellness and mental health. Today, I'm going to be talking about the concept of how all foods fit in a diet. And when I say diet, it's really referring to a way of eating, not sort of a traditional definition of the term diet, which would be generally known as calorie restriction and possibly food restriction. So I wanted to lay that out before we get started. Um, this concept of all foods fit is a concept that I firmly believe in and is rooted in the health at every size movement as well as the intuitive eating movement. And those are two concepts that I will be talking about in future soundbite broadcasts. So a few bookkeeping notes today. The presentation is being recorded and will be available on the THIRA website in a few days, and you will receive an email when that link is available. During the presentation, all audience microphones will be muted and cameras will be turned off, but there will be a 10-minute question and answer period at the end. So please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask your questions. I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. You can submit questions at any time, but they will be addressed at the last 10 minutes of the presentation. And we are going to try to get you as much information as you would like to know, because we really appreciate you joining us today and devoting some of your own personal time to hear what we have to say. So welcome and thanks for coming. So like I said, the dietitians at THIRA, as well as any dietitians who work with mental health and people with eating disorders, really focus on the nutritional wellness of those clients. And really nourishing the body is also nourishing the brain and helps people learn the skills to handle their mental health, to handle their eating disorders, and just to handle, the way they function in a relatively stressful society. So the dietitians generally come from a point of, let's make food safe, let's make food accessible, let's get people to really connect with the ways in which they want to eat that best suits their feelings of health and wellness. So this concept of all foods fit is something that I know people have struggled with in the past and can be a difficult thing to understand, because generally speaking, society has put labels on foods as being, good foods or bad foods or unhealthy foods or healthy foods. We use the term junk food pretty regularly. And what is really important in terms of speaking with clients who suffer from having any sort of guilt around food, any sort of shame around how they've put food in their bodies, we really want to make sure that this concept that all foods fits can be a concept that people can adopt and learn to incorporate into their own lives without that feeling of guilt and shame. So we really try and break down the labels. We really try and break down that concept of good food and bad food, or health food and unhealthy. And we really try and promote a variety of foods as being the best way to eat. So when we think about why do we eat, It is for nourishment. It is for growth and development. We do need nutrients to do that. But food is also meant to be enjoyed. It's also meant to be eaten freely. It's meant to be used as celebrations. It's meant to be used as honoring culture and traditions and many other reasons. So we try and promote that idea that eating is meant to be enjoyed, food is meant to be enjoyed. And if you're enjoying your food and you're not thinking about, I'm really bad for eating this, I have a lot of shame for eating this, I'm embarrassed about the food that I put in my mouth, I'm embarrassed about my body, that automatically has a negative impact on your mental health. So, somebody who's already dealing with, say, anxiety or depression, already is having a tough time getting through the day, we don't need to be adding on that guilt and shame of, you know, you're a bad person for eating quote unquote bad food. So we really try and promote this idea that variety is a really important aspect of eating and nourishing. And if we're eating all different kinds of foods, we're getting a whole variety of nutrients during the course of the day. So this is a way to change people's attitude toward food and help change their attitude toward their bodies. One of the things that's really important to mention too is for people who are feeling like they have to restrict their food or feeling like they need to change their bodies, feeling like their bodies or food is really attached to their mental health, we really want to promote that idea of body acceptance and try to really take the stress out of eating and the stress out of feeling like, oh my gosh, if I eat this, is my weight going to change? Am I going to be judged? One of the ways we need to help people in terms of training their bodies to start eating again so their bodies are working normally is we have them eat several meals throughout the day, getting back to that tradition of eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as snacks. And we really want to help regulate blood sugars and energy intake over the course of the day, because that, again, is going to be the best medicine for the brain, as well as helping actual prescription medications that sometimes come with a mental health diagnosis, helping those medications work better. So, one of the things that we really want to do in from a baseline when we first meeting with a client is really understand, okay, what do your food habits look like? And how can we start working on those? And how can we start making some tweaks in order to promote this nutritional wellness? So teaching the body to eat food and to receive food every 2.5 to 3 hours is a great way to restore the body's normal functions. So that gets the body revved up. It starts bringing back the hunger and fullness cues, and it starts to create those functions, the digestive functions, um, and that normalcy that our bodies are meant to do. When we play with the way we eat, or we restrict our food, or we overeat our food at different times of the day, this can be really hard on our bodies and really kind of mess our bodies up so they're not working optimally. And then again, what happens is the brain is not working optimally either. So if there's mental health issues or even not mental health issues, it puts a lot of stress and strain on the brain and makes it work suboptimally. Often that is seen in brain fog, poor memory, um, just feeling not that sharp. By eating regularly, you're promoting your body to get regular nutrition, and your brain is going to work so much more effectively. And so many people I have worked with have been able to recognize that, oh my gosh, just food alone, all foods and every food that they're eating, food alone is providing them with that light switch that turns on to be able to promote this mental clarity. So it actually works, and it's really exciting when we have people who start eating regularly and start honoring their bodies and honoring their hunger and fullness cues and feed themselves regularly and prioritize food. who are able to say, I feel so much better. My medications are working better. My depression is more managed. My anxiety is better. I have a clear head to be able to manage the everyday stresses. And I mean, that's what treatment and treatment at all levels, whether it's a PHP or an IOP or an outpatient, that's what treatment is about, right? We want to help people feel better, and we want to empower people to be able to take over their nutrition and be proud of what they put in their mouths and feel confident about their bodies, and really get a better hold on living life, right? So back to that whole idea of eating 3 meals a day and eating snacks. So as a dietitian, I want to be very aware of the client that I'm working with, as well as um, their own stresses and their own um, tasks that they need to accomplish during the day. Um, Things are a lot different now that we're working from home. And in some cases, having access to your own kitchen makes it a lot easier to be able to eat 3 meals a day plus snacks. We also run into that issue of people who just immerse themselves in their work and may forget to eat. We also may run into other things like jobs that are at different hours of the day, or kids, or family members, or whatever the case may be. So we want to get to know the person. We want to get to understand what some of their limitations might be. We want to understand their own relationship with food, as well as their mental health, as well as their bodies. And we want to really tailor a way of eating that's going to best suit them. So it doesn't always mean, breakfast at 8 a.m., lunch at noon, dinner at 5. We have to be able to work with each client individually in order that they think, okay, this is actually something that I can work with. Forcing somebody to do something that doesn't feel good or doesn't really work with their daily routine is probably doomed to fail. And so feeding the body about every 2.5 to 3 hours helps regulate the body's functions, helps promote fullness, helps establish hunger and fullness cues. It can help with GI issues such as nausea that may come up from not eating often enough, such as constipation that may come up with not eating enough, or maybe not having enough variety in of foods in your diet. It could be coming from not having adequate fluids. And so we want to understand what each and every person is working with, and then how can we help them and how can we tweak things for them. So um, a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, that's so many times to eat during the day, and I never eat that much. And, what is that going to mean for me? And what am I supposed to eat? A lot of times it's just this big question of what am I supposed to eat and how am I supposed to eat that frequently? So it's really important to look at the foods that people are eating during the day. Look at the foods that people maybe have a bit of a stressful relationship with. A lot of those foods that are deemed less nutritive, that people often want to eat but feel really badly for eating. Or they eat and they feel that they have to compensate by not eating, um, because maybe they feel like they've just had too many calories or too much sugar, too much of the wrong food. So now they have to give their bodies a break from eating. We want to teach them that philosophy that all foods fit. And we want to help them understand that because food is meant to be enjoyed, and because food and enjoying food is such a normal, natural part of humanity, and something that we've been doing for centuries, that it's time to reintroduce that concept to the way we feed our bodies now. So really trying to get people to become accepting of the fact that they might have a sweet tooth, or they might like to eat chips in the evening, or they might only want to have coffee for breakfast. So we try and understand this, what's important to them, as well as then provide a lot of support around, okay, let's reintroduce a variety of foods while you continue to work on your relationship with some of these foods that may make you feel like you're being judged or you're judging yourself. And as I mentioned before, this often can contribute to poor mental health. So it takes some time and it takes some flexibility and it takes some coping skills and learning coping skills that work for you. But it is possible to be able to enjoy a diet, which again, remember, is just a general daily, weekly, monthly way of eating that works for you and that makes you feel good about yourself. And as the brain responds to the food, as you feel like you're getting a better variety of nutrients, as you're working on eating your macronutrients, such as carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, as well as getting a nice array of micronutrients, we feel like people often will start developing a better relationship with their bodies. And they'll be able to accept their bodies more for how they look. They may not love their bodies, and that's okay. That's another concept that we're going to talk about in future sound bites. The whole concept of trusting your body and liking your body and loving your body and body neutrality. But we just want to start getting people set in understanding the benefits of eating all different kinds of foods and understanding the benefits of eating throughout the day and understand the benefits of normalizing food and really shedding that idea that food needs to be controlled by society or food needs to be controlled by disordered eating or an eating disorder. And this is going to help the body and the brain. It's going to help medications work better. It's going to create a better relationship overall with yourself, as well as your family, your friends, your coworkers, etc. The other thing it's probably going to do is give you more energy to do some of the things that you enjoy, which can also really contribute to good mental health. So to sum that all up, because we're almost ready for questions and answers, I want to encourage people to think about the foods that they really enjoy and think about their relationship with some of the foods that they might feel badly for eating or eating foods that they feel like they shouldn't eat, but maybe they really enjoy, and try to figure out a way of like, how can I incorporate these foods into my life? How can I feel better about eating them? And how can I add some variety, such as fruits and vegetables, proteins, carbohydrates, grains, fiber, all of those great nutrients? How can I also add those into my life? And dietitians are here to help. And I am really willing to answer any of the questions that you may have at this time. So I'm going to open it up to that. Do we have any questions? All right, well, it seems like we don't have any questions at this time, but I really encourage you to ask any and join us in the future. You can also save your questions for the next sound bites, and I'm happy to answer them then. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I can be contacted through Attune Nutrition's website. My email address is diana@attune, ATTUNE/nutrition.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.